Devin Jeffreys, welcome to the podcast, Youth Pastor Noob.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here. Really an honor.
We have been meeting a little over a year, I want to say, maybe a
Hmm.
year and a half, somewhere to that effect. And we've talked about a lot of things. We have run the gambit, and
A
I
lot.
of whatever we were talking about. So when we sit down to have coffee, or to eat, or any of those things, the conversation can literally go anywhere. But for the sake of this interview, I want to make sure that those that are listening and those that are watching are going to get the core of what we talked about, and not all the rabbit trails that we took off on. So I'll start with this question here: is what was your strategy when you first started at the church?
Yeah, so great question. Whenever I went in, I honestly thought one of the biggest things that I was going to go after was to try and do youth ministry the way that youth ministry was done to me.
Yeah.
And I learned very, very quickly this is not going to work. This is an absolute dumpster fire. I need some help. And so I began to reach out to other youth pastors in the area. But the very first thing I knew that I needed to do was similar to how Jesus built the church. You know, Jesus took 12 men, 12 ordinary men, and he changed the world with them. And so one of the first things I did was I established a leadership team.
Mm-hmm.
Which I will say, no offense to the other leadership teams and the youth pastors out there, I have the grade A team. I have hands down one of, if not the best leadership team on the planet. For them to be able to put up with me and my craziness in this world that is Devin, as you know,
Yes.
it takes a lot, and it takes special
Yeah.
people.
Yes.
So I had a lot of help, a lot of very, very good support. And one of the things that I did was I knew that going into it, parents can either be your best friend or your worst enemy.
Yeah.
I chose to make them my best friends. And so I started talking to the parents of these teenagers and tried to get to know the teenagers through the eyes of their parents, who were
Mm-hmm.
all in the church.
Right.
Most of them were PKs. So I kind of had to get to know them.
Yeah. They're a tough
And
crowd.
they can be, but what I will say though is people knock on PKs all the time
Right.
when in reality, I believe PKs are literally going to be, or can be, if the youth pastor does it right, they can be your biggest and best leaders, because they're going to be the most
100%.
influential. They're
Yes.
going to bring they're going to be the ones that are going to bring their friends.
They can.
So, things like that. I also began to try and tap into people's strengths.
Right.
So I actually went to you one time and I said, "Hey, man, I really feel like I'm not doing something right here. Something's going on." And your question to me back was, well, what are your leadership team's strengths? And so I tapped into that, and that was really kind of the beginning strategy that laid the foundation. And then I realized that I have to roll with what I've got.